If you check the comment sections out on a lot of videos talking about fractional gold, you'll see a lot of comments about sticking to buying 1 ounce gold coins and 1 ounce gold bars. That way you avoid the fractional gold higher premiums. Now, I heard an argument while at the coin shop last weekend, I was actually working there, that buying silver is a substitute for owning fractional gold. Now, before you hit the keyboard, let me explain this theory to you as it was presented to me at the coin shop, and then you decide. Coming right up. Hey, and welcome back to Florida Stacker on YouTube. I've got a great video for you today. This is actually a sponsored video broken up into 2 sections. At first, I'm going to talk about the theory that stacking silver is a substitute for stacking physical fractional gold. That's gold less than 1 troy ounce. Now, for those of you interested in learning about an emerging opportunity investing in copper with a strong company here in the United States, then stick around for the entire video. All right, so there I was, working at the coin shop last weekend when a gentleman came into the shop to sell 750 ounces of bullion silver coins. Now, while I was sorting through these coins and just having a general conversation with the customer, he stated that he came in today to sell all of his fractional gold to help buy a car for his daughter headed off to college. I kind of laughed a little bit, but then decided to take him seriously and just said, what do you mean by selling your fractional gold? And that's when he replied, have you ever heard of the gold to silver ratio? And I responded with, of course I have. The gold to silver ratio is something I talk about all the time here on Florida Stacker. Well, he continued to go on that the gold to silver ratio changes, and right now it's around 88 to 1, meaning it takes 88 ounces of silver to be worth the same as 1 ounce of gold when you're looking at it from a spot to spot and dollar to dollar basis. Now let me pause for a second and explain the gold to silver ratio for those who may not be familiar with it at all. The ratio is simply an expression of the price of the number of ounces of silver that it would take based on current spot price to equal that of an ounce of gold. So if I were to say the gold to silver ratio is trading around 90 to 1, then you can expect it would take about 90 ounces of silver to be worth the same as 1 ounce of gold. And with silver trading at near $30 US today on January 19th and gold right around $2,700, you can see the ratio is indeed around 90 to 1 today. So I continued on and said to the customer, okay, I see what you mean. So if 88 ounces of silver is an ounce of gold, then owning 9 ounces of silver is round about the same as owning a 10th ounce of gold, and owning 22 ounces of silver is about the same as 1/4 ounce of gold. Exactly, he replied, and I can divide an ounce of gold by 88 with 88 ounces of silver. And I said it's an interesting way to look at it. Of course, I'm a big fan of fractional gold, as over the last few years, stacking gold, of course, is very expensive. It does cost quite a bit to buy gold coins. So buying 10th ounce and 1/4 ounce gold coins was a good way for me with my budget to stack gold and own physical gold without having to save for a full ounce of gold. Now, the gentleman went on to tell me that he sticks to 1 ounce gold when he can afford it. And I think that's a good idea. Obviously, you don't want to overstack your budget. He went on to say again that he considers his silver as fractional gold, and that the gold to silver ratio, while it changes, it doesn't defeat the point that him owning silver is a way for him to pay for things in the event that there were a barter situation that would arise without obviously having to sell an entire ounce of gold. While this gentleman's theory in many ways, in my opinion, is pretty spot on, let me take a few minutes to talk about 3 obvious negatives of this approach, okay? So first of all, silver typically carries a higher premium over spot than gold, even fractional gold. Let's look at a 1/4 ounce gold American Eagle, and to keep it relative, we'll compare it to an American Silver Eagle, both coming from the U.S. Mint with higher premiums. Now, I could purchase a 1/4 ounce or a 1/4 ounce gold American Eagle for about 7 to 8% over its melt value. That's the premium over spot that dealers charge. Now, the cheapest BU Silver Eagles I can buy today are going to run about $3 per coin over spot. And when doing the percentage comparison, that breaks down to be about a 10% premium. So here, in this instance, sticking to the 1/4 ounce gold Eagle was the cheaper option. You got more metal for the amount of dollars that you're spending. Now, secondly, the gold to silver ratio changes, as the gentleman mentioned. Today, it is closer to 90 ounces of silver to an ounce of gold. But if we see some weakness in silver, it could move closer to 100 ounces. And the value of each of those silver coins now has decreased compared to the gold. That's why the ratio has expanded. But if you were to go with that same quarter-ounce gold eagle again, well, 25% of an ounce is 25% of an ounce. So you're tracking to that same value of an ounce of gold. Also, don't forget that silver is a lot heavier than gold, and 90 ounces of silver may not seem like a lot, but now multiply that times 10 if you were to own 10 ounces of gold. Now you have 900 ounces of silver, and trust me, you'll find it much harder to store and move 900 ounces of silver than you would 9 ounces of gold. In essence, silver has for many years been fractional gold. When you look back at history, when gold was used as we use fiat currency today, it could be that 5 pieces of silver represented a piece of gold, or perhaps 10 or 25 pieces of silver was equivalent to a piece of gold. It's really no different than the way this gentleman is treating the gold to silver ratio and silver as his fractional gold. However, my opinion is that I still think fractional gold is a little cheaper to buy. And if you're buying at the 1/4 ounce or larger size, I think it is the better deal. You'd probably do a little better buying silver over buying 10th ounce gold coins today. Again, I don't discourage you from owning 10th ounce gold. It's a great introductory size to owning gold. However, if you can afford the 1/4 ounce gold coin, you'll actually feel the weight in your hand a little more. And the premium makes it much more comparable. It makes it more intelligent when you look at it. For a long-term holder to be paying 3% less in premium than you would if you were buying silver. So for me, I'll continue to stack both as I have for years, but I'm really interested to know your thoughts in the video comment section on silver as fractional gold for your stack. So let me know down below. I'd like to thank today's video sponsor, US-based Giant Mining Corp. And for the remainder of today's video, I'm going to focus on a bull case for copper mining today and how Giant Mining Corp has resurrected an historical Nevada mountain that is really poised to provide millions of pounds of copper, along with our favorite metals, gold and silver going forward, and how technological advancements today are allowing for deep drilling at previously copper, gold, and silver producing mines. Now, before we get into the details of Giant Mining Corp and its big update on the Majuba Hill project, let's take a look at the price action of copper, moving over to TradingView and checking out the 5-year chart. So when we come over to TradingView, you can see that copper bottomed right around the time the entire market bottomed there in the early parts of 2020 as the COVID pandemic was really gripping the country. The price recovered as much of the market did, and it moved higher into the almost up to the $5 range back in 2021, early 2022, before kind of falling down back into the $3 to $3.50 range for much of 2022 and 2023. However, when we moved into 2024, you can see the bull case is back on as prices have once again challenged $5. And today we're sitting around $4.31, but overall a pretty bullish pattern here on the 5-year chart. Now, before I get to the fundamental reasons for the stock price gains we've seen lately, let's take a look at the price action a little more. Looking at the daily, you can see the stock has been in a decline throughout most of 2024, but with the news of the Majuba Hill project really beginning to break in January, you can see an obvious trend reversal that has taken place, and even two bullish harmonic patterns that are now visible on the TradingView app, indicating that the chart has swung from a bearish trend to a bullish trend. Now, looking at the hourly chart, you can see the trend reversal is much more obvious. We are seeing that the stock has surpassed its 20, 50, and 100-day EMAs and is really close to that 200-day EMA now. When we look down at the relative strength of the stock, however, we can see that it has begun to enter pretty close to that overbought territory here over the last week. Again, on this bullish momentum, it does appear that it is poised for a slight pullback into a buying range for those that are looking to make an entry. So again, this is just some brief stock analysis on the technicals. Now let's get to some fundamentals on the Majuba Hill project and what's driving all of this price action we're seeing today. Today is January 20th, 2025, and that means we have a new president. That's right. Donald J. Trump is president of the United States again today, and he has a very pro-energy agenda that he ran his campaign on, and therefore the overall energy industry. And guess what? Copper is within that energy industry because copper makes up the majority of the EV battery, for instance, in electric vehicles. Copper is critical to energy transition. It actually has a lot of green energy benefits associated with it too. So, obviously that's not exactly under Trump's agenda to promote green energy. He does want to be clean, but what he really wants to do is provide America's resources to Americans and potentially to the world to help drive down our national debt. So it's really bullish from a top level perspective, looking at mining in the United States. Obviously, Tesla is a huge consumer of battery metal material, and the Majuba Hill project is located super close to one of their factories there in Nevada. Again, Donald J. Trump and Elon Musk, they seem to have formed a partnership together. So we'll see what happens over the next 4 years. But when you look at it from a top-down perspective, energy in general has transitioned into a bullish time period. So looking at historical copper prices, we did cover that. We saw prices move up into the $4 and $5 range over the last couple of years. And Majuba Hill is loaded with copper. This place was actually mined extensively from the early 1900s into the 1960s. But as we've seen a lot with a lot of these mining companies now today, exploration is the most lengthy and cost-inducing part of the mining operation. You got to find it, right? And they've already found it. They know it's here because we've been pulling it out of the ground for decades. So now we're going to use advanced technology to drill deeper. And we're talking huge numbers of copper that are expected from these drill results. And that's really the fundamental reason that we're seeing the stock price begin to move up. It's exciting news for the company as they're getting ready to launch their drilling program in 2025. And that's going to tell us exactly how much copper, gold, and silver we can expect from future mining at these depths. And that right there, when those results come out, that's big news for mining companies because now you know exactly what you're dealing with, and the value of that property, well, it can move up rather rapidly. So it does have a history of gold and silver, the Majuba Hill project at this location. How much and the grades, we will know more about that as we get a little closer into their drilling this year. But again, copper is the big play. It's in a bull market. It's heavily in demand, and we have a presidential administration now that is definitely promoting not only energy and energy dominance, but also supporting the green energy movement in its own way. While over the past 4 years, we have seen the share price come down, management and the company's geologists have actually expanded the copper deposit. And this past September, so just before we saw the momentum shift, that is when Giant Mining hit their best ever drill hole here at Majuba Hill. So exciting things are to come. The stock is just beginning to transition out of that bearish pattern into a bullish pattern. Historic underground mines at this location have produced well over 2.8 million pounds of copper, 184,000 ounces of silver, 5,800 ounces of gold, and another 21,000 pounds of tin. And that was from the 1900s to the 1950s. So with technology being what it is today and our ability to drill and extract at much deeper levels, good things are in store here. And I think the market is beginning to figure that out. So if you want to take a look at Giant Mining Corp, I will have information about the company down in the video description section. Again, this company has shown in the past that it knows what it's doing. It has access to roads, power supplies, transportation, water supplies, ore stockpiles, and most importantly, it knows how to bring material to the market. A big shout out to all my viewers that made it all the way to the end of this video. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you to today's sponsor, but most importantly to you, my viewer. You are the reason that I'm here doing this, and 2025 is going to be a great year here on the channel. So thanks for sticking it out with me. I hope you learned something today, and I'm curious to know what you think about the Trump administration and its bullish outlook on energy and mining, and how Donald Trump wants to make America a great place for energy going forward. So happy to discuss that with you in the comments section, as well as our earlier topic on silver as fractional gold and only stacking 1 ounce gold coins. Okay, so love to hear your thoughts on that. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you for watching our video. I hope you subscribe to our YouTube channel.